Hi everyone, I'm Lizzie and this is Lizzie Reads, and welcome to my 5-star TBR long time update. So about a year ago I did a 5-star book predictions video, as it's very popular on BookTube, and I listed 5 videos that I thought, 5 books I thought I would give 5-star to, and I realised that I've read some, I've not read some of them, and I thought I'd give you an update, add some additions and see how we go from here. So the books I suggested were The Rental Heart by Kirsty Logan, which is one I have read and I don't have it here with me, but it is a book of short stories that I saw on Women vs Books channel, and the way she talked about it, I was just obsessed. I really was desperate to read it, and I read it very quickly after putting it on the TBR. I think it was one of the very first books that I read, and it was so interesting. However, it wasn't my 100% favourite. I didn't give it 5 stars, I gave it a 3.54 stars, I think a good 4 stars, but there was just something about it that wasn't what I wanted from it, and that's no detriment to the book or anything like that. I really like, and this is going to reflect later on in this video as well, my favourite short story collection ever is Sweet Home by Keriann Bray. They're surrealist, so I'd say they were surrealist fiction. They're so interesting, they're so engaging. I've read it multiple times and I absolutely adore it. It's inspired copious amounts of my own personal writing, and it's my favourite. I haven't read it in such a long time, I'm desperate to read it again, but I think I was holding it compared to that, and I don't think it just fell a little bit short. It was a good read, I'm glad I read it, but not 5 stars. Yeah, I've got magical realism, surrealist fairy tales written down here. And next is one I mentioned that I haven't read, and I have it here with me, and that is Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And I like her writing. I really like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's writing. I've read her 2 short mini books, both on feminism, We Should All Be Feminists and Dear Ijuele, a 13 something amount of points, or a feminist manifesto. That's the one I've read, and I really like both of them, and I listened recently to Americana, and I really enjoyed that, but I have really high hopes for Purple Hibiscus. I believe it's about a young woman in Nigeria who goes to live with her aunt, and it shakes her entire worldview. But this is one I still haven't read, but I still really want to read it. I always want to read it, and I think there's just something from picking me up. I think I'm a little bit scared of the fact that I might like it so much. I don't know if that's silly, and I wanted an audiobook, so that's why at the time that I listened to Americana, so that's what pushed me to pick up. But I do really want to read this. Then another one I haven't read yet, but we'll link back to what I said earlier, A Song for Issy Bradley by Keriann Bray. I have read a novel by Keriann Bray and a short story collection by Keriann Bray, as earlier mentioned, and I absolutely adored it. Both of them, I thought they were brilliant, and I really want to read this. Sorry about that, I can't tell if I'm in slightly a different place. My phone just fell down, so I don't know. But yeah, I really want to read A Song for Issy Bradley. It's about a family who go through it's about a family's grief over their daughter who sadly passed away, and her name is Izzy, I think. I'm assuming anyway, and this is one I still really want to read. I still think I'll give it 5 stars because I loved her other books so much. I just haven't picked it out. The next I don't have with me is because it was a library book, and that is The Upstairs Room by Kate Murray Brown. I think I saw this on Literarydiversions channel, and she read an opening paragraph and it sounded amazing and so interesting, but I unfortunately didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped. This was it's like a creepy, eerie novel about a family who move into their dream, like London townhouse, but it's got history and there's a room upstairs. It's really creepy and eerie, and the writing was beautiful. I can't fault the writing so much. This might seem to be a spoiler, but I just don't think the eeriness was as present as I would have liked it to be. It was more of a feeling, and I did enjoy it, but it's just not the best. And I think one of the reasons I actually read this is because I had it out from the library, and I had to return it or read it. So I gave that one 3 stars actually, because I felt like it didn't serve the purpose I wanted it to. The book was lovely, but it just wasn't for me, which is so annoying with star ratings, because I find it so difficult to say, oh look, here's a 3-star book, but for someone else it could have been a 5-star book just based on the exact same information that I had. So yeah, that's another thing to think about with these ratings. A brilliant book, some people would love it, but it just wasn't, it didn't serve the purpose that I expected it to. The last one is Snap by Belinda Bauer, can't remember how to pronounce her name, apologies. But this is about kids in a broken down car. There's a broken down car, and their mum says, come back, come back, I'm going to get help, you're in charge, to the eldest child. And she goes off to get, and she just never comes back, and nobody knows about it, and they just carry on living their lives in their house, not going to school, not going to anything. I don't know if they go to school actually, but nobody knows about them. And it sounds so interesting, but it just became such a run-of-the-mill thriller. It just didn't, the premise was so interesting and I was hooked, but I just don't remember much about it, and I gave it 4 stars, so it must have packed a punch at the time, but looking back on it I can't remember anything about it, so it's not like a high 4 stars. I'd probably even say it's probably just 3. So that wraps up the books that I initially talked about. So to conclude, I haven't read A Song for Issy Bradley and Purple Hibiscus, but I thought that it was, instead of just reading these 2 and starting a full 5, what I do is, you've got the update, and now I'm going to add 3 more books to that, and I'm going to make them my next reads post Tome Topple. So I'm currently participating in the Tome Topple readathon. It's not going well. I'm not past my first book, and the 2 of the next books are actually in my TBR, so if all goes well, one of them will be read, hopefully, if I manage, and we're over halfway and I'm just not getting anywhere with it. So hopefully they'll get read, and then the next process will be of me reading these. I might vlog it, and I'm going to keep these to my TBR. And also it's a really good way, because 4 of these are books I've had for quite a long time, so these 2 and the next 2 are books I've had for quite a long time. It'd be a really good way for me to just knock some of them backlist books off my shelves. So I was thinking of adding The Paying Guest by Sarah Waters, which is in my Tome Topple TBR because it is long, and this is about I think it's set in 1922, and it's about a guest house, and typical to Sarah Waters' writing, I imagine it's going to be brilliant, because I absolutely love every single book I've read by Sarah Waters so far. I've read 4 out of the 6 that she has published, and I'm so excited to get to this one. This is the the one that's been published most recently, and I'm really excited to this. I just know that I'm going to love it, and so I'm really excited to read that. Hopefully it's as good as I have it in my head to be. And the next is one I've also had for a really long time. It's a pre-owned book that I have, and it's The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. And this is book 1 of the Gentleman Bastard series, and it is about, I believe it's a fantasy novel about a group of like ragtag thieves, and I think I've just heard such great things about it, and it seems like really up my street, and I can't wait to read it. That's also my Tome Topple TBR, so I might get to it a little bit before the end of the Tome Topple, and then maybe And then I've got Q by Christina Doucher, and she wrote Fox, which I also have but I haven't read, but here with me I have the proof copy, even though it's already out, I just didn't get to it in time, of Q. And it's about a woman who lives in this world, this dystopian near future world, where you have to do a test to see how perfect you are. You have to like get a certain level, and if you don't get that level, you go somewhere. And this is about a woman whose daughter fails that test, so she purposely fails the test to be with her. And this sounds so interesting, and I'm really hoping that it'll be something that will really grip me. I quite like dystopian fiction, and I just think that this will be something that I'll really like. I'm hoping anyway. So that's everything. I'm going to finish the timetable when I can, and well, when it finishes, and if I've started some of these I'll start vlogging, but these are the ones I'll carry on with them and then start vlogging. These are the ones that are sort of like on my immediate TBR. I think I really want to get to these first, and I've sort of used this as a way to sort of guide my TBR, because with everything in lockdown I've not got many new books coming into my life, and the new books is how I usually guide. Okay, pick what I want to read next, I think. With that, I'm just like, oh, this one's first, this one's next, and then some of the older books get left behind. But I think it's a good way to incorporate one newer book and a few of the older catalogue that I'm really excited to read. So thank you so much for watching. Please talk to me in the comments down below, and goodbye.